Agentic workflows are not just trends, they are the future of AI industry. More and more companies are making the shift to agentic workflows, and it is just getting started. Because it is estimated that AI agentic market is going from $7 billion from this year to $93 billion in next couple of years. So I can tell you right now that knowing how to build an AI workflow is going to be the most valuable skill that you can have. By 2030, it's estimated that it will be a $40 to $50 billion industry. And that's not just a small jump, that's an entire industry being built in front of our eyes. Around 25% of the companies have already made the shift and started to build agentic workflows within their company. By 2027, this number will jump to close to 50%. So half of major companies will be running some version of agentic workflows in the next 2 years. With that comes massive budget allocations, security requirements, and a ton of opportunities. You might wonder, what is this AI agentic and how is it different from the traditional automations that we already know? Why is this happening now and what is driving this shift? It comes down pretty much to one single thing, that traditional companies have started to hit the ceiling of what traditional automations can do. And they have started to realize that they could move much faster with more agentic workflows into their system. If you have been building workflows using N8N and Zapier, you know the usual drill. You connect different nodes or blocks, you handle the edge cases by yourself, and it works until it breaks. Because traditional workflows fail when they hit something unexpected. And when that happens, someone has to go in and do the thing manually. That's a maintenance and time that gets consumed, and which eventually means that money is being wasted. So how is agentic workflow different from the traditional automation? One single factor: self-healing aspect of it. There's a lot of noise online about the agentic workflows that makes it sound like something magical is there. They fix themselves, which is partially true, but only in specific context, at least right now. Because when you're working on Claude Code and you ask Claude to, hey, do a research about these competitors and build me a report, the agent is sitting right there next to you and it will do the research, give you the report. And if something happens or breaks in between, in the mid-run, it solves the issue by itself. It adjusts the approach it is having and eventually solves your issue, gives you the report that you want. And this self-healing piece of AI agentic workflow is very, very real. It's incredibly powerful when you are building and you are iterating at the same time. But once you deploy this workflow to run on its own by scheduling it or getting it triggered by a webhook or something like that, that is exactly what it means to deploy the code or deploying the tools. But the actual agent, it does not get deployed to the cloud. What this means is that the self-healing ability of the agentic workflow goes away the moment you deploy it to the cloud. It gets deployed to the cloud, it behaves more or less like a traditional automation. Honestly, that's a really good thing. So automations are predictable and deterministic, and those types are the best ones. So to give an example about this, about explaining what is the real advantage of having agentic workflow over the traditional automation, is that imagine you want to build a train track. By using traditional automation, it basically means that you will be handling the entire train track, building of that train track. Like you will be laying out all the wood, you will be laying out all the track by yourself or by your own hand. But what agentic workflow does is, you just need to tell the crew that you need to build a train track starting from here to that place. That's it. You just need to give the prompt, you just need to give the command to the crew so that they start to build exactly the way you want, and they handle the edge cases as well. If there's a turning, there's a curve, you don't have to do the calculation. Agents are there, they know the workflow, they have the tools to build that. We can see that the market is actually shifting towards building more and more agentic workflows. It's not me who's telling this, but the actual numbers back it up. But here's a question that you might have in your mind: whatever I have learned all these years using Zapier or N8N, has this become useless? Like anyone can build this now, so whatever I've learned these years, like, it's of no use to me now? The answer is no, it's not useless. I mean, whatever you have learned so far is gonna be of very, very useful to you, for you moving forward. People who are going to struggle with the agentic workflow are the people who do not have this foundational knowledge. Because the people who do not have this fundamental knowledge, they will just jump into Claude Code and ask to build it something that they need, but they won't be able to understand whatever the Claude Code is building, is it in the right track or no? Like, is it good or no? They won't be able to identify it because of the lack of foundational knowledge. Since you already know how these automations work, you know how to set up the traditional automations, you know what are the things that is needed at what point of time, you can clearly and precisely communicate with the Claude or the agent to help you with exactly what you want. Alright, so now you know why agentic workflow is such a big deal for us, right? I'm going to show you how simple it is to build an agentic workflow right there in the VS Code. I'm not a coder. I don't know about anything about coding. Hi guys, my name is Achutji Ramesh. I'm a performance marketer. I work for a company called Flying Bee Group. It's a agency. It's a marketing agency based out of California. I've been in the performance marketing industry for more than 8 years now. And since right now AI agents are getting into the picture, I'm started to learn. I don't know anything about coding. I'm just starting to learn all of it. Just now I downloaded the VS Code. If you're someone who is a beginner and have no knowledge, that's completely fine. You are exactly like I am. We are just learning together. So if you want to build along with me, then I'm attaching everything that you need to build this agentic workflow along with me. You can build this. The framework that I've used, all the resources that I've used in this video, I'll be attaching in the description, YouTube description, or I'll be pinning it in the YouTube comment section. So check it out. And it's completely free, boss.
So yes, we will start with Visual Studio Code. This is how it looks. If you don't have Visual Studio Code, then you have to download it for your system. You basically have to go to visualstudio.com and download it for your whatever system is. If it's Mac or whatever with the Windows, you could download it for your system. Once you install it, you'll be here. Then you have to click on this extensions, search for Claude Code. This is Claude Code, and you have to install this Claude Code for VS, and you just have to install it. Okay, I have already installed, so I just installed the extensions. Visual Studio Code is called IDE, Integrated Development Environment. It's absolutely free, and for Claude Code, you have to subscribe to the paid version of the Claude Code, like Claude. So this is the pricing of Claude. And as you can see, this is free, Pro, Max. I have subscribed to the Pro version. This is good enough. It includes Claude Code, but as you can see, the free version does not have Claude Code. So you have to pay $17 for this and get yourself Pro version of Claude so that you can start working the project that you're working on right now. And every resources that you need, if you're working along with me, then every resources that you need, I'll be attaching it or pinning it to the description or the comment. So just check that out and we will just work together. So I will just close all of this. I have installed the Claude Code for VS. I'll just close this. I will just even close this part so that it becomes clean. Now I move to folder. And as you can see, it's empty. You have not yet opened a folder. So you work every project inside a folder. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll open folder. And I'll just start working on an empty folder. Okay. Visual Studio would like to access files in your desktop folder. Allow. I trust the authors. Okay. Now we have everything here. I'll just close this part and this. So now I have selected this folder inside which I'll be working on this newsletter demonstration. Okay. Now on this side, on the left hand side, as you can see, this is where we'll have the files, and on the right hand side, this area, we will have the agent. So if I double click on this, and as you can see, this says generate code, select language, and I'll click on this extension of Claude Code, and I'll just close this. Okay, this is files section and this is the agent section, and this is where we have actual Claude Code agent over here. Just to simplify things, on the left hand side we have files where we will have all those workflows, tools that we need, and on the right hand side we have the agent where we'll have do the planning, it will ask questions, we'll just tell whatever we need to need to build, and it will execute for us. And all of that happens on this right hand side that you will see on which is agent. Okay, so the next step for us is to add an Claude.md file into our file section, which will be here. We will just need to add Claude.md file. What it does is Claude.md file, it acts as a system prompt, which has a set of instruction specifically for our project. So let's say when I add a message or add my instruction to Claude agent, it not only goes through my instruction, but also it scans through the system prompt or the Claude.md file as well to understand what to do, how to do it, which acts as an operating manual for this particular project. So I have downloaded the Claude.md file. I'll just drag it over here. So as you can see, this is our Claude.md file. It's a plain English natural language. It just have hashtags, all those asterisks. The file is written in that manner. And if you could read this, you will know exactly what it is. It's in plain English. It's easy to understand. The important factor that you need to understand here is this Claude.md file is made with a particular framework, and that framework is VAT architecture or VAT framework, which means workflow, agent, and tools framework. Okay, here it is. So this is the framework that we have used. Workflow means it's consider it as a recipe, which tells you that this is the instruction you have. This is the first thing that you need to do. And this is the second thing that you need to do. It's a step by step. Everything is mentioned over here. The workflow explains the agent that what it needs to do and how to do it. What should be the step one? What should be the step two? And everything in the order. And it's in the Markdown file structure, which is nothing but, as I said, it's a simple instruction. Consider it as if you are going to cook something, this is the recipe. It will tell you that you are going to make a cake, and to make a cake you need to preheat the oven, and you need 4 eggs, this many flour, all that stuff. So this is exact recipe. It just tells you that step by step things. And all that recipe instruction is for the agent. And workflow explains everything to agent, and agent use tools. In our example of recipe, workflow tells agent that, okay, you need eggs first, and then you need you need an oven, then you need a bowl, you need flour. So these are the tools that we are using. In this case, APIs, all the integrations, instruction like Perplexity for research, Gmail for sending an email, Nano Banana for image creation, all these are tools, and those are the tools that we are using here. And that instruction is in the workflow. Which tools to use when is in the workflow, and the tools that are being used is here. And all those instruction is for the agent. Simple. So as I said previously, when user message is the Claude Code agent is nothing but the Claude Code agent. Okay. So agent tries to understand your message, and then it interprets the Claude.md file that is in the workflow. It goes to the workflow and understands what are the tools I need to use to accomplish this instruction given by the user, and then it uses those tools. And this is what agent does. It says that this is your role. You are responsible for intelligent coordination, read the relevant workflow, run tools in the correct sequence, handle failures gracefully. So whenever agent fails at something, let's say the out of the box situation comes into picture, so agent learns out of it. So agent tries to fix it and then adds that instruction to the markdown file. So agent keeps on learning about itself. Then these are the tools, Python API credentials that we are using, and all that stuff. So you can go through this entire MD file, read through it, understand what we are trying to achieve and how this MD file is structured. But I will not read it through it now, but I'll just add instruction to the Claude. Read the Claude.md file and then set up the project and structure, and then we will start building workflows together. So this is my instruction to the Claude. Let's do this. Now Claude has created all these folders on the left hand side, and in this environment you can add the keys, right? All the OpenAI keys and Claude keys, that whichever API keys that we need to add. Instead of adding it to the Claude agent, we don't know where it goes. So what I'll do is I'll just click on clear this conversation. Okay. Then I will just move this to plan mode, because this is where in the plan mode we need to structure what exactly we want first before we get into the action. Here I will give it some ambiguous command about what we want from this project. Hey Claude, we want to create a workflow. You need to create a workflow for me where you will be creating a newsletter. I will give you certain topics and you just need to create a newsletter out of it, a proper HTML file, pretty looking newsletter using HTML. You should do the research by your own. You will create necessary infographics. You can use Nano Banana. You can use any tech stack that you need for this. And let me know if I'm missing out on anything. Please ask any questions. We need to have proper structure before we start building this. Let's go. Now this is my instruction. Now let's see how it works. Okay, it started to work. It's giving some gibberish word, and yeah, now it's asking me questions. What did you mean by nano banana? I want to make sure I use the right infographic tool. Some you had different tool in mind, please. You can use any tool. Other, I'd say you can use any tool that you want to use. Okay, then output send via Gmail, then research, live web search, Claude Code knowledge, let's say both. Then what's the audience and tone for this newsletter? Tech AI professional business, general audience. Use tech and AI professionals. Okay, submit answers. Now it's yeah, it just keeps on giving some silly words, pottering and all that stuff. So it's going through our instruction now. It will give us a plan of what it understood, and we just need to read that plan before we execute the final step. Okay, it has few more questions to ask. What should the newsletter be named, branded? Pick all that's apply. Hero should be there. Deep dive articles, quick bites, infographics, description. Yeah, just add all of it. He just gave us a plan. Let's go through this. It gave us a plan over here. If you read through this newsletter workflow implementation context, the user wants a repeatable WAD framework workflow that takes list of topics, researches them, and produces polished HTML newsletter derived via Gmail. The project is fresh, no tools or workflows exist yet. Each newsletter run is okay. Architecture, files to create, purpose. I'll add this instruction that for infographics, you can use Nano Banana using a platform called key.ai. The spelling is kie.ai. This, so it has come up with this final structure. I need to add a couple of more things. That is, I don't have a brand guidelines, so you need to come up with the brand guidelines for this newsletter as well. And I don't have a name for this newsletter, so can you come up with a name for this newsletter as well? It has come up with some name, inference. Okay, recommended. I'll go with this. Submit. Okay, now we have this entire plan. So everything looks good to me. Verification of the process. I'll just yes and accept. Okay, while I'm working on this, I am also gonna show you something very a tip, I would say. Click on settings on the VS code. Then you should look for Claude extensions, Claude code. Allow dangerously skip permissions. Enable this so that you bypass, it won't be asking you permissions moving forward. So yeah, that you have to do it, enable it, close it. Okay, it's has completed it. Now it says that I need to add my API keys to the environment, Anthropic API key and key AI API key. I'm also going to ask it to create config files for this newsletter for the newsletter and the recipient. Let's do that. Okay, so now we have newsletter as well as recipients in our config file. Great. Now in the tools, if you see, we have builder, newsletter, HTML, create infographics, then generate newsletter content. And here are the list of tools that we are going to use. This is going to use. In the tools section, I'm not seeing you're using Perplexity for research. Are you using it? Make sure that you have created file for newsletter style, Gmail distribution list. For research, you use Perplexity API. You generate infographics using Key AI API Nano Banana. Assemble HTML using Claude, which should be fully branded HTML file with along with the logo, infographics embedded, and tools for sending email as well using log to a row in Google Sheet. And the workflow should have the SOP of step by step of how to do this newsletter. Just now I mentioned what are the tools that you're going to use and the workflow. So let's make sure that you have all of this before proceeding further, before I could even add the API. Now we do have everything here, complete tool registry, research using Perplexity, generate newsletter content using Anthropic, create infographics using Key AI, Nano Banana. So we have almost everything, and I just need to add Anthropic, all the API keys. I will add it over here in the environment. As you can see, just add all of this and come back. So I have added all the API keys. I'm not showing it on the screen, but I have added all the API keys, Google Sheet related permissions, Gmail, Anthropic, Key AI, Perplexity, all of that. Okay, now I will ask the Agent, can you create me a newsletter for Agentic AI? It's asking me what specific topic should this newsletter cover. AI Agents 2026 Landscape, Claude 4 agent capabilities, multi-agent framework, Agent AI news this week. And the recipients who should receive this email? Internal only. So at this point, all I can do is just see what it's doing and just go through it. I'll just show you a couple of things that it has been doing and it tries to solve the issues by itself. For example, so it's went through the workflow. So it got the workflow. Then it faced an issue. I need two more things from you. And it asked me two questions, what the topic should be. I gave the topic. Then it started to use research using the Perplexity. So it was using the Python and it could not find the Python. So it went and ahead and installed Python by itself. Run Perplexity research for newsletter topics. It did it. It installed the Python and then it did the research. It got completed 5,318 words across 3 topics. Step 2 was generating newsletter content with Claude. It went to the Claude, content generated. Now, the third step was creating the infographics with Key AI and created data forward infographics on Dark. And it tried to create it. It found a bug. It started to fix it. Key AI's API is getting rejected. The model name for the workflow fallback instead. I'll proceed without the infographics. So it's proceeded without the infographics. Okay, we'll see. And it started to build the HTML file for the newsletter. Then I gave permission to send this newsletter as in using my Gmail. So Claude has now done all the part, everything that was needed for our email newsletter to be drafted. So it has drafted the email newsletter. It did the research. It did create 6 bytes, 3D particles, and the draft is in my email ID. The sheets log is also appended, so we'll check that as well. And we found two issues. First, we'll check with this email draft. We go. This is the email draft that we have newsletter. This is the newsletter that we have. It's simple, just that I had not added the branded guidelines, the color of the newsletter and all. If that's added, it will be much more attractive. Now let me check the Google Sheet as well. The Google Sheet, okay, it's there. Logged, timestamp, date, issue, one issue is there. Agent news, headline, recipient. Great. So there were two issues here. The first one is the output which was given by the newsletter. It met the max tokens of Claude. So it increased it to 16,000 and it fixed it. So I will ask Claude to update this into the work. Yes, update these in the work. Now we have to fix the second issue as well, where Key AI got crashed. I believe it's something related to API and we just need to fix that. So I've added that note as well. Also note that Key AI returned a 422 error and the infographic step was skipped. So we need to fix the key model API endpoint later. So it has added that to the workflow. So both workflow updates have been added. So I asked the agent to fix the Key AI issue. It went through all the endpoints and found out there are 3 things that are wrong in the current script. Endpoint, model name, it should have been Nano Banana 2. Payload prompt must be nested inside this. So it found the issue. Now it's fixing all of it. So yeah, most likely it's fixed now. Let's see. So it has fixed everything. Test result 5.5 MB of infographics generated successfully in 35 seconds. Is it updated in the draft newsletter? If not, please update in the newsletter with the infographics so that I could send it to my audiences. So CID fix confirmed. All of this has been confirmed. It generated 3 images, and now let's check the draft. The draft is created in this email. So I'll just check. Here we go. This is the draft email. This is how it looks now. Does it have infographics? Yes. Here we go. First infographic. Platform wars, agents and consumer scale, Meta Business Agent Platform, Google Search Agents. I'm not reading any article like key takeaways. The production gap looks good, pretty good infographics to make this newsletter attractive. Multi-agent, build it right, pretty nice infographic. Multi-agent architecture, when to use it and when to avoid it. Nice, here we go, the third one. Nice. So we have the newsletter with infographics now. Everything is sorted. Only part is just this logo is not visible. I just need to correct that. But we have everything right here, exactly the way I wanted it to have. Now I can use this newsletter to send it to my audiences, right?
I know that this seems a little bit intimidating at first, but hopefully after watching this video, I believe you guys have realized that how I was able to build this without any technical knowledge. We didn't set up any API calls. We didn't do anything like that. We just talk to the agent and it built this system for us. Now the question is, how do you turn a skill like this into an income source for yourself? I see this all the time. Business owners watch one of those your YouTube videos or LinkedIn posts and sees that flashy AI demo, and they come to you and ask you to build an AI just like this one for them. But when you actually sit with them and understand their business and their operations, you realize that this is not what they want. I like to give that plumber and doctor analogy here. Just think about it like plumbing. If you have a pipe that is clogged, no matter how much volume of water you fill into it, the water flow will remain the same. It will not get any faster unless you remove that clog. So you have to be that person who removes the clog or the bottleneck in the business operations, which will make the flow faster. If you can cut through the noise and find the real constraint of the business and unclog that pipe, that's way more than building a super flashy AI workflow for the business, which will actually move the needle for them. What you need to do is act like a doctor and not like a pharmacist. Pharmacist fills the prescription as prescribed by someone like a doctor. But what doctor does is they sit with the patient, understand the pain point, understand the bottleneck, understand the symptoms of the patient, runs the real diagnostics, then gets the prescription for the patient. That's the difference between someone who just builds the workflows and someone that businesses will actually pay some serious money. That's why you need to always place yourself for value-based pricing and not hourly rates. When you are talking to a business owner, you just don't say that I build workflows using Claude Code. They just don't care about it. If you can tell them that I can save you X amount of time or X amount of money every month, that's the pain point that you're solving. That's when they will be actually paying you money. Here's a simple way to think about it. You sit with the client and try to understand the business and operations. You realize that this is the process that you are building will end up saving them $10,000 in a month, and you are, let's say, charging them $5,000, and within 2 months they'll be getting their money back, and then everything else that after that period is profit for them, and it's also a very great deal for you. And that might have taken you few days or few weeks to build a system like this, but that is basically is what is called value-based pricing for your agency, or even if you're a freelancer. You don't need a huge audience to start getting money from these workflows. Instead, you just need right conversations to begin with the right set of people. You need to understand what businesses they do, what are their operations, what are the bottlenecks, what are the pain points that they have, and you just need to figure out a process of how to solve that. And once you build that system, you stick around with them, and once the client finds the value out of it, they will want you to build more of those systems or processes that can solve different problems in their businesses, and they would eventually want to expand their businesses with these workflows. That's how a $3,000 agentic workflow or build turns out to be a $50,000 yearly revenue. But the key thing is that you have to be the one who tracks every metric in their business and take the ownership of each of those problems that arises and try to brainstorm of how you solve those issues. So we just went from understanding what is happening in the agentic market to actually building something live in this video and seeing how to sell the systems to other business owners with a premium pricing. And here's the thing, this isn't a future thing. This is happening right now, and there are actually businesses who are making the shift to agentic workflows. And with time, within just a couple of years, there'll be really, really high demand for the people who are building these kind of systems. So demand for those kind of people is actually going to grow in coming months and years. So if you want to know more about this, subscribe to this channel, because this is where I'm clearly making these kind of videos, and I myself, who have been a digital marketer for last 8 years, is gradually making the shift, trying to inculcate this AI agentic workflows in my workflow in digital marketing. So if you're someone who has an understanding about digital marketing or who wants to get into agentic workflows, subscribe to this channel, because I'm learning and I'm sharing it with you guys without charging anything. All you have to do is subscribe to this channel as a support. I hope you like this video. Please comment down below. Let me know what else you want to learn. If you want to know how to use Claude, install it, just check this video that I have, and that's how you should get started with Claude Code. Thank you. Bye bye.